What's up, fam? You're now rocking with TSC Unleashed. We in the building, man. What's going on? Happy Tuesday to all the black and gold family members chiming in the live stream. Much love to you and Yearns on this one. As a lot of people, man, had a late Monday because of the Monday night affair, but a headache Tuesday waking up to it. Listen, man, that's why we here, man. We here talk about this thing, but we're gonna talk about in this Tuesday episode of TSC Unleashed. I'm gonna recap the Raiders and Saints Raiders Monday Night Football game. We're gonna also preview the Lakers Nuggets Game 3 matchup. We're gonna talk about that today in this episode of TSC Unleashed. So I'm Big Q chiming in this one, and yes, Ricky, who that nation in the building. This is a live one. We be fooling you sometimes, but it's a lot going on, man. We got a lot we working on. Last Saint, what's up? Brian Pearson, what's up, Brian? Good to see you in the chat as well. Big ups to the family members chiming in on this edition. We're going to bring in my co-host of TSC Unleashed. Uncle Mozzie is in effect. What up, fam?
I am here, live and in effect. A little upset, a little tired, a little parched, a little sore throat from yelling at the television last night, you know, as I'm sure everybody is. But, I mean, we got to keep our head in the game and try to move forward.
Well, let's do that, man. Let's get into this matchup right here. The Saints, wow, man. I mean, 34-24 Raiders take it in a fashion that a lot of people don't like. The Raiders put up, 17 points in the second half of the contest while holding New Orleans to just 7. They took the game in the second half, ran past the Saints, wore down the defense, ran the ball. They were, even though they didn't eclipse it. Let's look at some of the statistics and then give me your analysis on it, because the bulk of this show will be between just 2 or maybe 3 topics, so we can go all in on it. All right, for the Saints, Drew Brees, 26 of 38 for 312, 8.2 on the average, a throw, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 61.4 QBR, and a rating of 91.1 for Drew Brees in the matchup. Alvin Kamara, 13 carries, 79 yards, average 6.1 per rush. He had 2 touchdowns, the longest of which was a 21-yard run that he had. Latavius Murray, 3 carries for 14 yards, despite the fact that Latavius was averaging almost 5 yards a rush. And accurate was 4.7. So, I mean, that's what it came down to. So, outside of that, you look at the wide receiving core, Alvin Kamara was the man there as well. 9 catches, 95 yards. He had 10.6 on the average. 9 catches, 9 targets. He was perfect. Traquan Smith, 7 targets, 5 of which he caught, 86 yards. He averaged 17.2 yards per catch. Big ups to Traquan Smith. He stepped up, and he was alone. He was a bright spot in this debacle. Ty Montgomery targeted 3 times, caught 2 for 25. Deontay Harris targeted 5, caught 3 for 23. Latavius Murray, 2 targets, 2 catches, 19 yards, and he had 9.5 yards per average as far as that's concerned. Emmanuel Sanders targeted 3 times, only had 1 catch for 18 yards. Adam Troutman got going. He had 1 catch for 17 yards. Josh Hill, 1 catch for 16 yards on 2 targets. And Jared Cook, 5 targets, 2 catches, 13 yards in the score. Jared Cook, there was a family member that said in last night's recap show, Jared Cook looks old. He does, man. Damn near decrepit. Maybe somebody need to buy him a big ass bottle of what you call it, that cod liver oil, that what you call it there, Mozzie? The fish oil. Yeah, fish oil, man. He looking stiff as hell, man. Come on now. But let's keep it going though, man. He look old and stiff. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Okay, let's go on to
He punished us, though.
Man,
he punished us,
that's
though.
in his young. That was in his younger days. Now he's being punished. All right, Marcus. Let's see. Marcus Williams was your top tackler, 9 tackles. Demario Davis is 8 tackles. Marshawn Lattimore 7 tackles. PJ Williams 7 tackles. Malcolm Jenkins 7 tackles. Notice the trend here: 1 linebacker amongst the sea of defensive backs. And that's never a good thing when you see so many defensive backs with the tackles and your linebackers. Like, that's never a good thing. David Onyemata, 6 tackles. Trey Hendrickson had 5 tackles and a sack in the game. Onyemata also had a sack in the contest. So did Malcolm Jenkins. He had a sack in the contest. So Janoris Jenkins, 5 tackles. Cam had 5 tackles as well. Alex Anzalone had 5. Malcolm Roach had 4. Malcolm Brown had 3. 2 for Marcus Hunt, and then several Saints with 1 tackle in the outing. And of course, Deontay Harris on the return game, 2 returns for 64 yards. He averaged 32 yards flat on the return. That's pretty good, man. They just need to open up creases for him because he's trying to find the opening. They're just not blocking well enough. They got to get that cleaned up, man, to keep it real with you. All right, Will Lutz was 101, and Thomas Morstead had 3 punts. Two of the 3 was inside the 20, so he was pinning them back when he had the opportunity. Okay, let's move over to the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr was 28 of 38 for 282, averaged 7.4 yards a throw, 3 touchdowns on the day, 3 sacks. The Saints were able to get on him. He had a QB rating of 77.1. Josh Jacobs, the battering ram, 27 carries, 88 yards, averaged 3.3 yard on the rush. Jalen Richard, the scat back, 2 carries, 26 yards. He also had a rushing touchdown as the Saints could not get to him, and he was able to run 20 yards or so, I think it was 20 something like that, for a touchdown, which was absolutely pathetic. When that happened, it broke the game open. Las Vegas wide receivers, who else but Darren Waller, the same goddamn guy I warned the fan base, the family base about for pretty much all of last week about Darren Waller, that he's the key contributor here. You have to neutralize him. They did not. They let him go. He had 16 targets, 12 catches off of 16 targets. Yeah, they really did a job stopping him. 103 yards, 8.6 on the average, and had a touchdown involved. Brian Edwards, the wide receiver. The wide receivers were not too much used in this game in terms of being impactful. Brian Edwards, 2 catches, 42 yards. Remember, these guys are rookies now. Hunter Renfrow, 3 catches for 37 yards. Tight ends, Foster Maru, Nelson Aguilar, the wide receiver, all came with 1 catch. Job Jacobs, 3 catches for 17 yards. Zay Jones, a difficult catch. Looked like the ball scraped the ground to me. It kind of moved a little bit. They said, no, it's all good. He had a 15-yard catch for a touchdown in the matchup. And Alec Ingold, the fullback, got going on him. He suckered him with the fullback. And of course, Derek Carr did have 2 fumbles. 1 was lost, and 2 fumbles in the matchup. You knew about the fumble by Jalen Richard, in which the Saints picked out, went up, could not capitalize on it. Las Vegas defense, top pick was Arnott, had 7 tackles. Nicholas Morrow, who picked Drew off, had 7. LaMarcus Joyner had 6, 5 for Eric Harris, 4 for Abrams in a game. Trayvon Mullen had 3, so did Carl Nassib, Corey Littleton. All those guys had 3. Max Crosby, Jonathan Hankins, and Maurice Hurst had 2 tackles apiece. Like I said, the interception by Nicholas Morrow, when Drew threw into coverage, he just didn't see the linebacker stepped in front of it. And of course, the return game, Jalen Richards had 1 return for 30 yards. Ruggs had 1 for 16. Punt returns, Hunter Renfrow, not too much to talk about on that. And Daniel Carson, 2 kicks. He was 2 of 2 in the matchup. The longest was a 54-yarder that helped push the Saints out of there. 34-24 is the final. Mozzie, go for what you know.
Well, first off, we gotta if we're gonna dissect the game from top to bottom, we gotta start at the head. Sean Payton has got to do a better job at running the ball. I know he wants to pass the ball a lot because he was a quarterback. Everybody got to remember, he's a quarterback at heart. He was a quarterback in this league, replacement, but still a quarterback, and he's always been offensive minded since he's been coaching. With that being said, some of the things I think is it becomes a little cute at times, and we don't need it, obviously. But the big thing that killed us last night, and this goes back to that thing we call training camp and preseason, and all of the things that everybody wants to eliminate. You cannot eliminate these things because for prolific as a team could be and great as a team could be, the one thing that we simply cannot get around are penalties, and another thing is turnovers. So 2 things that we've got to have control of in the game going to be turnovers and penalties. Hats off to the Raiders as well, because what they managed to do was they never allowed the Saints to get into rhythm. So all of those stats, are the Saints a high-powered offense? Yes, they are. Did the offense mess up? Yeah, we had a couple turnovers. I think we should have definitely ran Latavius more than what we ran him last night. But when you break it down and look at the brass tacks of it, we didn't struggle on the offensive side of the ball outside of the turnovers. We didn't struggle on the offensive side of the ball. We are back to having that subpar defense that simply we just cannot we cannot have that. You know that defense after the Saints gate, the Bounty Gate situation, we never really shook back. We kind of got back in that 10 to 15 range, but we've never solidified ourselves as a top 5 to 10 defense since we've had our Super Bowl run and Jonathan Vilma was doing the play calling on that side of the ball for us. So you got to break it down and understand that it wasn't the offensive side of the ball. Sean Payton could have called the game a lot better, but that defensive side of the ball, with those penalties that they got called on, with the last penalty from Jackrabbit, which was clearly pass interference, but they have been playing and joshing all day long. So I'm not understanding why that was, the big emphasis. But when you play the game close like that and you leave yourself open for those types of calls from the referee, they're not gonna go your way 90% of the time. If any team in the world should know how that goes, it should be the New Orleans Saints. They have to play better on the defensive side of the ball. They've got to stop playing from behind, and they've got to flip it to where they are retaining the time of possession. Time of possession, those drives last night, they had like three scoring drives for 9 minutes or better. So the scoring drives took up 30 minutes. That is insane when you're talking about a single 60-minute football game. They had the ball on scoring drives for half the football game. That's not winning football. That tells me that the defense is, two things is going on. Either they're not getting them out in time, and they're allowing these teams to complete these drives by them just moving the chains from their game plan, or the chains are being moved because you have senseless penalties. Last night was a combination of both, and I don't know when the league let aliens in and started letting Kryptonians into the league, but for whatever reason, they just simply, he's in my fantasy team, by the way, they simply did not have an answer for Waller. He did what he wanted to do to whom he wanted to do it at any given time. And that's always been, at least the last decade, that's been the Achilles heel of the New Orleans Saints. Whether you getting burned, whether it was Ron Harper getting burned by Vernon Davis, or whether it's now, when Jared Cook got off on us when Minnesota had beat us, and last night you had Darren Waller. For whatever reason, when we play these high intense hybrid tight ends, the guys that are not they're not quite big enough to be considered the traditional tight end, but not quite small enough as a receiver. And for some reason, all of these guys are super ripped and they all run like 4.40s. When I see a tight end like that or a running back like that, like Rashad got off last night, that spells disaster for the Saints. The Oakland Raiders ran the ball on us. They threw the ball on us. They got anything they wanted to on that defense last night at any given time, any spot on the field. And when they couldn't get it, we gave it to them by committing a stupid ass penalty that got us further and further away from the lead. They overtook the lead, and then we never were able to contain it back. Even with the last drive going forward, and we still were in the game, we committed yet another dumbass penalty that got them in field goal range, and in essence iced the game up for us.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you take a look at the statistics, just to fortify the points that you were making, the penalties, with 10 penalties, the Saints had 10 penalties for 129 yards. That is not a winning recipe. And listen, the thing is, remember, I sound the alarm. I had the danger alarm spinning about the referees. 10 penalties for 129 yards. That's over 200 yardage. That's over 200 yards worth of penalties in 2 games. That is incredibly ridiculous and undisciplined football. A lot of it is because of us, a lot of it's not. I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of suspect calls are being made, and that no matter what unit they use, they're all controlled by the same appendage. But we can't blame this on the disgusting, rotten, wretched ass NFL referees. A lot of this is self-inflicted. The referees are not out there roping the Saints defenders down to stop them from making plays. They were beaten bad by this Raider team. Cam was pushed all out of the way. He was submerged by mostly backups today. You looked at the pressure the Saints got early on in the first quarter. They would amass 3 quick sacks, but then that fizzled quickly away. Boy, that fizzled right off as the adjustments were made and they handled. Another thing to fortify the point, total plays. The Saints had 57 total plays versus the Las Vegas Raiders 76. Let's accentuate that. 57 plays versus 76 plays, Mozzie. That is what? A difference of 19 more plays than you in this game.
That's a difference in 19. Exactly my point.
Do you not understand how much that is?
Absolutely. When you look at the fact that each play is going to take about a minute and a half to run on average, and you multiply that times 19, what's that? That's 19 9. It's 27 extra minutes that they had for absolutely nothing. And then these long, grueling scoring drives were all long and grueling, 9 and 10 minutes long.
Now look at this. Let's also accentuate that. That was a point well said. Now let's compare the total plays, 76 total plays by Las Vegas versus 57 by the Saints. And then let's contrast that using the time of possession. Mozzie, I want you to comment on this. 36-18 was the time of possession for the Raiders. They had the ball over 36 minutes in this game. The Saints had the ball for 23 minutes. That's a difference, my friend. That's a difference of 12 to 13 goddamn minutes that they had the ball more than the Saints. That is a quarter more of action. They took a quarter away from you in this game, and people are saying we don't know how the Saints lost. They lost because they did not dominate the time of possession, and they did not dominate the line of scrimmage.
They deferred, and the deferment was perfect because they came out, got the ball, and then had a long grueling drive. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So like, if you didn't do well in the first half, they just completely smothered you in the second half and didn't even allow you to touch the football.
Stole your possessions away from you is what they did. Then forced you to one-dimensionalize yourself by throwing the ball more. Absolutely ingenious how the Raiders were able to do it, but I kept saying this. This is what you're supposed to do when we talk about dominating the line of scrimmage, because it impacts the possession of the clock. John Gruden was able to do this because he remained true to the principles that he came up with, which is running the ball. And notice that he kept everything close to Carr with him throwing to his running backs and tight ends. He did have a few plays when he went to the wide receivers, but if you'd have took Waller away from them, neutralized Jacobs, you'd have beat the Raiders. As simple as that. Jacobs, Jacobs didn't get 100 yards. He had, 88 yards? 27 yards, 27 carries, 88 yards. He didn't get 100, but he didn't need to. Every time he needed to get a first down, he was able to get it. Remember in the fourth quarter, what happened when Jacobs, the Saints came back off the drive. The game was relatively close. Then they allowed Jacobs to rip off a 10-yard run. They extend out the clock and pick up another batch of downs. That is uncharacteristic of the Saints defense, but they were manhandled by the Raiders line, both offensively and defensively. So there you go. You want to add on to that?
Well, I mean, even if you look at, I think it was the Raiders' last scoring drive. It wasn't when they handed it off. I think it was I don't know if that was Jacobs or if that was Richard that went around the right side. They played him to go out of bounds, and you could tell the entire secondary, nobody wanted any type of contact or trouble. That's how he was, because he actually thought about going out of bounds, and when he realized that they were chasing him out of bounds, nobody wanted to tackle, he just turned it upfield and walked into the end zone and skipped into the end zone.
Yep.
From top to bottom, man. That defensive side of the ball, man, it's got to do better. It's just got to do better. 24 points, which the Saints put up, in really limited time of possession, should have been more than enough, especially with Carr having 2 turnovers. That should have been enough for you to win that. 24 points with a top 15 defense, a defense that's going to hold your opponent to 21 or less, which is still a lot of points, but 21 or less, and the Saints win go to the Super Bowl the last 5 years. That's all I've ever asked. Get me a top 15 defense or a defense. It don't have to be top 15. We can do the bend but don't break thing. Just don't allow your opponent to get over 21 points a game, and I guarantee you will win. You know why? The Saints are going to average 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 33 points a game. We know we're going to get that out of them, period. So in understanding that, you also have to know, okay, our defense has got to step it up. Our defense we got to switch from and maybe we're being too cute and too elaborate. Maybe we don't need to stop them every play. Maybe we need to adopt a bend but don't break philosophy, whereas we soften up, but when we get in the red zone, we kind of stiffen up and trade, field goals instead of touchdowns. So when you do that, and then you put that high-powered offense on the field, and you're putting up touchdowns while you're giving up either field goals or punts. That's winning football. You got to be able to hold them to 21 points or less for the Saints to succeed. Otherwise, you're going to ask an offense that's not at full strength with an aging 41-year-old quarterback to go out and put up 40 points a game. And it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I've been saying that the entire season is that you're going to have to win as a team. You're going to need the running attack to come in to brace up the passing game until the passing game can get going. And even when the passing game gets going, you're going to need to bring the running game with you. That needs to be the central part of the Saints defense. And so, offense, I suppose, is using it. You have 4 active running backs. You decide to keep 4 running backs. And then you mean to tell me you're only going to run 1? This is the discipline while we're not going and getting deep. John Gruden, look what he did last night. He had the discipline. That word ago. That's that word again. He had the discipline to stick to the running attack and utilize the tight ends to get the offense going, even though he knew his quarterback wasn't making throws downfield, overthrowing wide receivers. But he was still able to use the running attack to be able to brace up the passing game, and they won by 10 over the Saints, even though they weren't favored to win. The Saints were absolutely disgusting in this one. I definitely think they'll bounce back, and they have no choice. They have a Sunday night matchup with the Green Bay Packers. They'll be in the Dome. And listen, the Green Bay Packers are 2-0. The Green Bay Packers averaged over 40 points a game. They beat Detroit 42-21 in week 1, and then they beat Minnesota. Both teams are struggling, by the way, 43-34. But that doesn't matter if those teams are struggling. That don't matter. Both of those teams still put up 20-plus points, and then the Vikings put up 30-some points. You still have to go out and beat those struggling teams. You can't allow a struggling team or a young team that's not totally complete to beat you when you're supposed to be a favorite. But mistakes happen. Short week. Saints don't have no choice. They got to bounce back. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Oh, go ahead. You want to speak on that, Mozzie?
The only thing I want to kind of keep everything, because we as fans sometimes get lost. We think these people are superheroes and not human beings. Here's the thing, right? The NFL, any professional sport, when you make it to a league, you can be Gardner Minshew. You're better than 98% of the population at the position you play, or the known people that are known. Now, I'm sure they might have some guy that was, once the all-star quarterback or whatever, but now he's a rockhead or something. Like, he doesn't count. I'm talking about guys that we know. Gardner Minshew type caliber of player is better than 98% of the population at the position that he plays. So people we think are garbage are not really garbage. And my further point is, 2 professional teams are still professional teams. The difference between wins and losses comes down to nuances, discipline, coaching, diet, workout, mental capacity. Those are the things. Same thing we saw with Dallas and Atlanta. Had the Atlanta Falcons realized they were on offense and not defense at the time, they'd have fell on the ball and they'd be 1-1 right now. You see, so it all boils down to mental mistakes, mental toughness, mental capacity, how you practice, how you train. Those are the nuances that makes one person Drew Brees and makes the other person Gardner Minshew. But they are both, just from raw talent and ability, good enough to play in a league that 98% of the world can't even think about playing in.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, to say the least. But the Saints,
you got to beat those people. You got to play those people, and you got to beat those people. You can't pretend those people are not professionals. They are professionals. They might not have the same work ethics and other things that go into a winning program, but they are professionals.
That's right. You can't be medicine for another team. You really can't. You can't let yourself be a medicine for another team so they can get right. But let's keep it going. Let's move on to the next bit of news that we have. This was from the NFL Power Rankings that dropped 4 hours ago. And this is from ESPN. Power Rankings for Week 3. The Kansas City Chiefs sit on top with Baltimore. They face off this weekend. Monday night in their second. Let's see, KC first, Baltimore second, Seattle's third. Green Bay is fourth, and the Saints, that's right, the Saints are number 5 in NFL Power Rankings for week number 3. And the rest of the top 10 filled out with Buffalo, the Rams, Tennessee, San Francisco, and New England. Rounds out the top 10. The Saints sit entrenched at 5. Green Bay at number 4, right ahead of them. Interesting matchup. We take them on Monday night. Maz, what you think about this power ranking?
Well, thank God everybody else sucks. I mean, because we wouldn't be at 5. It just so happens that everybody got a black eye except those upper echelon teams. We talking about Green Bay, Kansas City, and I forgot who you said was second and third, but Baltimore. Like these guys don't have any losses. So I
KC,
mean,
Baltimore,
I guess out of the
Seattle.
out of the 1-1 teams, I guess we are the best. But like, should we be impressed by that, or should we be like, this is an oddity? This is one of the first years. Most years half the league is going to be undefeated, half the league is not. Is going to be have that black eye, be 1-1 at this junction. It just so happens there are just not that many undefeated teams out there anymore. So, whether we owe that to COVID or a shortage of games or a shortage of preparation, or the fact that the talent pool is kind of balancing itself out and becoming more diverse in the NFL, I don't know which one of it is, but it's definitely one of those, because there's no way the Saints should be trending at number 5 in the power ranking after what I saw and the rest of the family saw last night.
Big ups to the family members chiming in the live chat. Big ups to you. Good to see the family members in. Appreciate your support on the live stream. Who that nation, Ricky? We in the building. I see you, fam. DLP, Last Saint, Brian Pearson, Aaron Campos. Good to see your family. He said the Raiders are not a better team than us. We got to do better than that. Thank you. Aaron DLP's in the building as well. Said the Raiders O-line dominated our D9, allowed their running game and passing game all day to control the clock. No doubt about it. Thank you, brother Jerry. Who that to you as well. Say everything went wrong last night. Let's see, Lance Kelly, who that said the Saints had the 4th ranked defense in 2013. Let's see who else we got chiming in. Brother JT, I see, he said I vote Q and Uncle Mozzie for the Supreme Court. Lance Kelly.
I don't want to walk that one.
Troll Blue, what up, Troy? He said still recovering from last night. I got you, Troy. It'll be all right, bro. Dave Flores, good to see. Say Elvin Kamara, MOB yet last night. All right, and the rest of the family, thank y'all. Heavy C. Henderson, I see your family. Big ups to you as well on this edition. All right, family, let's keep on moving. Hit the like button, please, as we get to the next topic. And that is basketball. Pro basketball returns tonight. The Western Conference Final. The Lakers and the Nuggets here. This is where Uncle Mozzie's crystal ball. We see if it actually works. Lakers up 2-0. They barely scraped by in game 2 when Anthony Davis knocking down a contested 3-point shot, Kobe-esque fashion, while yelling out Kobe's name. He's basically conjuring Kobe's spirit, and he knocked down a beautiful 3-point shot to take the series 2-0 over the Nuggets. Of course, the Nuggets saying they're entrenched. They had several series now are coming back from the verge of elimination. They're not scared of no ghosts. So, I mean, let's keep it going here, because Nikola Jokic averaging about 20 and 10 and 7 through the playoffs. LeBron James is balling too. Anthony Davis and the Lakers are going to throw those bigs at him. What happens tonight, Mozzie?
Well, I mean, each game is inching closer, and like I told you off air, I know everybody's excited about LeBron. And speaking of Kobe, I could, I'm a Kobe fan since the day since he stepped out of Marion, Lower Marion, and was drafted by Charlotte and traded to the Lakers. Listen, Kobe was flipping in his grave the night before last, watching the GOAT sit there and with his hands in his pocket, looking stupid, while AD had to run around, grab that shot, take it, knowing that play was designed for him. We inching closer every single time, every single pass. We eke a little closer, and I think tonight we're gonna pull it out. I think tonight will be that game where we finally figure everything out, and we'll pull it out, and I think we'll be victorious.
All right, well, there he is. Uncle Mozzie, he continues to stay on the Nuggets bandwagon, even though if somebody was to refer to the Nuggets as cooked, which means they're done, they would be the Denver McNuggets. They're eaten. They're dipped in barbecue sauce, but not Uncle Mozzie. Uncle Mozzie says that they will continue to push the series, and sooner or later that philosophy has got to be a failed philosophy. Come on, Uncle Mozzie, you got to admit that. Who wants to repetitively and continually play from behind? Why not take the onus to move ahead in series every now and again, as opposed to the only time you do it is in 7-game series, in a 7-game win at the base of the series. So I mean, but I respect your stick-to-itiveness. That's an old school word. To be able to stay on par with the Nuggets and not jump from the Denver McNuggets bandwagon. So, it's all good, man. I think Denver actually wins this game too, but I don't think they win the series. I think what those other teams were lacking, that the Lakers are not lacking, that's killer instinct. Yes, that's the thing that killed the two previous teams that the Nuggets played, which was the Clippers. And, listen, killer instinct. The Lakers have plenty of killer instinct. When they get ahead of you, they will finish you. And that's the main thing what I like about this team as well. So there it is. Lakers, Nuggets. Uncle Mozzie says the Nuggets win. I would say the Nuggets win game 3 as well. But wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers go 3 up on them because the Nuggets like it that way. They got a weird fetish with that. All right, let's keep it going, man, and move on. And matter of fact, that's what we got for y'all today. That's all we got. Saints, Raiders recap. And of course, we gave you the news of the power rankings and the NBA Western Conference Finals game number 3 going on tonight. So how about that? Anyway, I'd like to thank all you guys for Leo Wilson. Big ups to you. Thank all the family members for chiming in the live stream. Thank you for showing support. Today, show log is tonight TSC Q&A on Patreon for our Patreon champions and our YouTube members is today at 6:00 p.m. So if you want to be a part of that, we will be opening up the lines and we will definitely be having family members to chime in on their thoughts of what happened during the game. We'll be doing that on TSC Q&A. If you're not a member, please hit the link below in the description section. Join up our Patreon. It's as little as $1 a month, man. And plus, we put that dollar to use at the platforms. We continue to put out content and keep on ratcheting this thing up. So if you want to help out the platform, join our Patreon. Link is in the description, or become a YouTube member. You'll have access to locked content on Patreon and for our YouTube members. And so thank you guys for that as well. And I think probably today, maybe around 4 or so, I might do a reaction show again where I open up the phone lines for about an hour or so and let the family members chime in. We'll drop a little news for about an hour or so before we have our really big show on Patreon. So I'd like to thank all you guys for joining in today on TSC Unleashed. Tuesday edition. We'll be back tomorrow, TSC Wednesday, to recap more information on the world of sports. So from me and Uncle Mozzie, we thank you guys for joining us. Peace, and we'll see you later.
Peace.